There is something about this time of year that has me on edge. Don't get me wrong. Of course I love the fall. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. As Anne said in Anne of Green Gables by Ella Montgomery, I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. I love the weather changing this time of year. We get nearly constant thunderstorms. I love Halloween, covering the house in orange lights and skeletons. But there's also a sense of foreboding, like there is just too much to do. There will never be enough time. It's all my fall reading. Books and books and still more. Calling to me. All the scary books I have vowed and waited to read. Listen to them. The children of the night. What music they make. Anxiety, thy name is TBR. Oh! Hello. You scared me.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
I've had my share.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Well, I guess I should be welcoming myself back because I'm the one who just sat down. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reading in the Dark. My name is Byron, and I read sometimes. This video, in case you haven't noticed, is very, very October-y because it is the last week of September now, and this video is going to be my TBR for the very spooky month of October. My hair, I know, is really fun. There's this line, but if I go like this, so maybe I'll just spend the entire video like that. No. Well, my reading is going really, really well. It is the last week of September, and I've read almost everything on my list. I read 4 novels in September, and I will have read 5, because right now I'm in the middle of a bonus read. I'm reading We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, which is so good. I mean, I knew it would be. I expected it to be, because I loved reading The Haunting of Hill House, and I've always heard that for some people, We Have Always Lived in the Castle is even better. Oh, I was going to change my shirt. You know what, you guys? Okay, much, much better. Thank God I'm wearing orange so that you will know that it's the October vlog. The October vlog, the October TBR. Otherwise, how would you know? And this is my Happy Halloween mug. I'm drinking some cinnamon dolce coffee, which is now a little bit lukewarm, and that's okay. I love it. Out of this pumpkin-y mug, which is cute, except because of how it's made, it's kind of hard to drink out of. But you know what? We don't care about it being nice to drink out of as a mug. We only care about it looking cute. Because it's spooky season. Okay, We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. The thing is, I've talked about this book on this channel many times. I've put it on my TBR a lot, but I've never actually read it. So this is considered Shirley Jackson's masterpiece, deliciously dark and funny. The story of Maricat, which I now know is a nickname for Mary Catherine, which is such a relief to know, because for years I've been reading this blurb and thinking, Maricat? What a name. Tomboy teenager, beloved sister, and possible lunatic. Living in the Blackwood family home with only her sister Constance and her uncle Julian for company. Maricat just wants to preserve their delicate way of life. But ever since Constance was acquitted of murdering the rest of the family, the world is not leaving the Blackwoods alone, and when cousin Charles arrives, armed with overtures of friendship and a desperate need to get into the safe, Maricat must do everything in her power to protect the remaining family. So I'm reading this right now, and it's really, really good. Maricat is a lunatic. She is a basket case. She's crazy. She has been cooped up at home as a young person, not going to school and not having friends for too long, possibly. And she has her own sort of magic system that she abides by in a manner that reminds me a little bit of Water Shall Refuse Them by Lucy McKnight Hardy, which is a great book, by the way, if you're looking for a witchy read. It features young people and like obscure magic system that is sort of made up by this kid, and it just spirals. I can recommend Voice Like a Hyacinth by Mallory Pearson. It's dark academia, witchy vibes, and sapphic. Both of those are great. So it's reminding me of that a little bit, and I'm really liking it. Oh, I'm also still reading Night Shift I'm slowly working my way through the short story collection, the first ever short story collection by Stephen King, Night Shift. I'm vlogging that read as I do it, so it's taking a little bit longer, but I'm reading that too, and that might continue into October. But that's what I'm currently reading. This video is about what I'm going to read. So I'm being kind of ambitious with my October TBR because of how well things are going in September. So without any further ado, you may have noticed this book sitting here. It's just going to bide its time. We'll get to you, Nathaniel. We'll get to you. You are ever present. The first one is an audiobook. I have one audiobook slated absolutely for sure in October, and I actually technically started it. I think I've listened to a chapter maybe, and that is an audiobook yet again of Dracula by Bram Stoker, but this is a new audiobook to me. This is a full cast production of Dracula, starring Tim Curry and Alan Cumming. Alan Cumming does not play Dracula or Van Helsing. He plays Renfield, which makes me very happy because I was thinking that he was going to be doing one of the larger parts, and I didn't want him in any of those parts, but he's perfect for Renfield, so that's exciting. I'm sure there are lots of other really fabulously talented actors doing voices, reading that book, and I don't know who they are because, you know, they always just credit the famous people. But anyway, that's a full cast, and it's going to be great. I started it. It's about 16 hours long, and that translates the hardcover of Dracula is about 456 pages. I've read Dracula like 5 times, and it is long, but it just kind of keeps on going. It's told through letters, an epistolary novel. It just kind of plods along, but it's super entertaining the entire time. Dracula is awesome. It's also super misogynist in places, as they all work to defend the honor and protect the feminineness of Mina and Lucy, and to varying degrees of success. But it's also fascinating, and some of the chapters are so great, and I don't know how Bram Stoker made the description of someone laying inside of a box with their eyes closed fascinating, but he did. So that's my very, very iconic October read, Dracula. Yet again, Dracula. I will always be reading Dracula. I recently purchased yet another copy of Dracula, and I think I talked about this, but just to drive the point home, I'm always reading Dracula and buying copies of Dracula. Happy Halloween. All right, the next book that I'm going to read in October is kind of an odd one. Maybe, well, it seems odd to me because it's old and it's not exactly a sexy choice, but I'm excited about it. I'm going to read The House of the Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I had a really great time finally reading The Scarlet Letter in 2022, which again is like a throwback to a period of time during which I made a vlog that I just posted. I now have the same blonde hair from 2022. It's all very weird. I'm not trying to confuse you or myself, but that does seem to be happening. It is currently 2025. But yeah, so I really enjoyed The Scarlet Letter. I was surprised by how much I liked it. I think I was sort of traumatized from the experience of being forced to read it in school and not really reading it, and didn't realize that the story was actually interesting. And there was something going on underneath the surface that was not being discussed, and so I really liked it, and I thought, hey, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if I could eke out one more classic that I would actually enjoy? And so let's give it a shot. So I'm going to try one more Nathaniel Hawthorne, and that's going to be The House of the Seven Gables. I've been to the house during the ghost tour that I took in Salem. Supposedly the family who lived there inspired the story. Let me read. It's right here, just biding its time. I'm going to read the blurb off of the actual book. It's a gripping psychological drama concerning the Pynchon family, a dynasty founded on pious theft who lived for generations under a dead man's curse until their house is finally exorcised by love. Hawthorne, by birth and education, was instilled with the Puritan belief in America's limitless promise. Yet, in part because of the blemishes on his own family history, he also saw the darker side of the young nation. Nathaniel Hawthorne was related to the judge who presided over the so-called Salem witch trials, whose name is spelled without the W, Hathorne, maybe? But he was related to that judge who is, you know, responsible partially for one of the most horrific events in American history. It was ashamed of that for a long time, and so he sort of spent his entire literary career trying to basically make penance for that blemish on his family history, and this is an example of that. I recently watched a really great video about this house by Kendra Gaylord, which I will link here, I think. So that's the first book I'm going to read. Not the most exciting choice in the entire world. It's 326 pages, but I'm excited to try. Alright, the next book on my list is much more exciting. I don't mean to be like doing him dirty. Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote a book people love, but it's just really old. Anyway, the next book on my list is much more contemporary, and it's a lot more exciting, probably to a lot of people, and that is The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. It is the second book in the Vampire Chronicles series, book 2 after the interview with the vampire, and it basically goes throughout history and deep into the past and through, I think, the time period of the events of Interview with the Vampire, and possibly even beyond them, to tell the story of the entire life story of the vampire Lestat, who is basically the antagonist in Interview, sort of, until he becomes pathetic. Surrender to fiction's greatest creature of the night. Book 2 of the Vampire Chronicles. The vampire hero of Anne Rice's enthralling novel is a creature of the darkest and richest imagination. Once an aristocrat in the heady days of pre-revolutionary France, now a rock star in the demonic, shimmering 1980s, he rushes through the centuries in search of others like him, seeking answers to the mystery of his eternal, terrifying existence. His is a mesmerizing story, passionate, complex, thrilling. Yeah, so Lewis, who is the protagonist of the first book, is a very sort of like Hamlet-y, introspective, philosophical, sort of morose, melancholic character, and Lestat is a lot more fiery, so I've heard this book is even better than the first one, and I am sure I'm going to really enjoy this, except someone gave it 2 stars, I don't know why. Emmett, what happened? He didn't write a review. So that is The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice, and coming in at 493 pages. It's a little bit chunky, but it shouldn't pose a major problem. I can handle it, I think. The next book that I'm going to read is one that I have also mentioned before, but I almost forgot to put it on here, and then I realized it was perfect, and that is The Between by Tananarive Due. Call it magical realism with soul. That's what one review said of this book. I think I need a coffee break. I don't like that the handle is over here. I am right-handed. All the liquids. I need all the liquids. Blanche, how you doing? Okay. She's fine. A man risks his soul and his sanity to save his family from malevolent forces in this brilliant novel of horror and the supernatural from the award-winning pioneer of speculative fiction and author of the classic My Soul to Keep. I still haven't read that, but I have read The Good House by Tananarive Due, and I loved it. Just insert whatever profanity you want there. I loved that book. When Hilton was a boy, his grandmother sacrificed her life to save him from drowning. 30 years later, he begins to suspect that he was never meant to survive that accident, and that dark forces are working to rectify that mistake. When Hilton's wife, the only elected African-American judge in Dade County, Florida, begins to receive racist hate mail from a man she once prosecuted, Hilton becomes obsessed with protecting his family. The demons lurking outside are matched by his internal terrors, macabre nightmares, more intense and disturbing than any he has ever experienced. Are these bizarre dreams the dark imaginings of a man losing his hold on sanity? Or are they harbingers of terrible events to come? As Hilton battles both the sociopath threatening to destroy his family and the even more terrifying enemy stalking his sleep, the line between reality and fantasy dissolves. I loved The Good House by Tananarive Due. I read it a year ago, I think in September, and it's about 600 pages, it's a chunker, and it was, I mean, I can still see the house, I can still see so many of the scenes and the woods where everything happened. That book is so good. Another book to add to your list if you want recommendations. And it is actually kind of witchy, and it has a backstory that goes, like 100 years into the past. The Good House by Tananarive Due. And The Between is only 290 pages. So I'm really looking forward to The Between. I am apparently reading Tananarive Due's entire bibliography backwards, because why not? Mexican Gothic by Silvia, Moreno-Garcia. This book was really, really popular and trendy on BookTube for a long time, and I didn't read it, so I'm kind of missed the boat on this one. After receiving a frantic letter from her newlywed cousin begging for someone to help her from a mysterious doom, Noemi Taboada heads to High Place, a distant house in the Mexican countryside. She's not sure what she will find. Her cousin's husband, a handsome Englishman, is a stranger, and Noemi knows little about the region. Noemi is also an unlikely rescuer. She's a glamorous debutante, and her chic gowns and perfect red lipstick are more suited for cocktail parties than amateur sleuthing. But she's also tough and smart, with an indomitable will, and she's not afraid. Not of her cousin's new husband, who is both menacing and alluring. Not of his father, the ancient patriarch, who seems to be fascinated by Noemi. And not even of the house itself, which begins to invade Noemi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. Yeah, and this seems like a really solid 3.5, 4-star read for most people that I'm seeing reviews from on here. It was really, really trendy on the Book Talk and the BookTube and whatnot for a long time. I'm really looking forward to finally joining the conversation on this one, and that is Mexican Gothic, and it is 320 pages. The next book I'm going to read is a reread, and it's a reread that is going to be really, really easy, and I'm probably going to tear through in 2 days. but I'm putting it on here because I deserve it, because it's going to bring me so much joy. One of my favorite spooky, cozy mysteries, which is a Murder, She Wrote book, actually. Number 14 in the series, and it is called Trick or Treachery. I read this book already, maybe a couple years ago, and I gave it 5 stars. Now, it is a silly, cozy mystery. It's not life-changing, but it's so perfect for me. I love Murder, She Wrote. I love that world and those characters. I love a whodunit. And this one is about Halloween. Okay, here's the blurb. You ready for this? You are. It's late October in Cabot Cove, and as Halloween approaches, something strange is in the air. The arrival of a self-righteous, fire and brimstone spiritual medium has some townspeople on the lookout for curses and evil omens. Plus, there's a reclusive, eccentric woman who has others whispering that she is a real-life witch. The whole town ends up spooked when the alleged witch is found dead in the graveyard, of course, and everyone at the town's big Halloween party nearby is a suspect. So, there's a Halloween party, there's a scorned woman that people think is a witch in town, and there's a murder in a graveyard. I mean, what more could you possibly want from a cozy Halloween raid? I remember loving this book. The atmosphere was just this wonderful, warm, cozy hug, and a small town, like a big party in a small town, and like, it was great. It was great, it was great. I loved it, and I'm gonna read it again, because I want to be happy. And I deserve to, so I'm gonna read it. I'm trying to remind myself that I am allowed to reread books. You are allowed to reread books. Let's normalize that, because I know I'm going to enjoy it. I know I'm going to have a great time. Speaking of knowing things, yes, that's the segue. There is another book on this list that I haven't mentioned yet, and you may have thought that I had forgotten about it, but trust me, I didn't. Oh no. No, this book that I have saved for the last is actually the first book I'm going to read this month in October, and that is, in fact, the Dracula book of Great Vampire Stories, edited by Shepard. This book has become a little bit of a joke at this point, because I mentioned it in every TBR I have ever posted for spooky season on this channel. The next book that I hauled was also related to Dracula, but it wasn't Dracula. The Dracula book of Great Vampire Stories, collected by Shepard. And I love that they're collected in this edition with really cool little details like that. I'm gonna really enjoy this, and I think I'm gonna save this until October. The next book that I am definitely going to read this month, Dracula book of Great Vampire Stories, and I am really excited to finally pick it up and read it this October. The Dracula book of Great Vampire Stories, I'm very excited about it. I've been excited about it for a long time. I got it on 8 books. It's an old used book. It has a cool cover. I just need to actually read this book, so I'm going to make sure that it's the first thing I pick up in October. The Dracula book of Great Vampire Stories, it's just sitting right here, and I keep mentioning it around this time of year and then not reading it, and I really want to actually read it this year, this time, and not have it in this video again next year. Oh yeah, didn't do that. Then I'm going to read this book, I swear. I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna swear. I'm not gonna swear to this because I have sworn to it before. It's like tradition now. I just mention it like every year and I never read it. So this year, maybe this year will be the one. The Dracula book of Great Vampire Stories. I have had this on my TBR now that many times. I swear I'm gonna do it this time because I'm so tired of not doing it, so that I can finally take this off of my list. I don't even know where this book came from, but I have owned it ever since I've had this channel, pretty much. It's 269 pages of classic horror. What could go wrong? I have never read it. I have had it on my headboard, next to my bed, on my nightstand. I have talked about it, but I've never actually read the damn thing. Ooh, it was published in 1977. So all of the stories are pretty old. Here it is in real life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 13. Ooh, lucky number 13. There are 13 stories in here. Ever since Bram Stoker's spine-chilling Dracula revived an ancient superstition in the 19th century, the vampire theme has proliferated in novels, plays, and films. Here, for the first time, we have assembled the all-time greats of vampire fiction in one volume, ranging from Sheridan Le Fanu's Carmilla through Bram Stoker's hair-raising Dracula's Guest. It is notable that today's revival of vampire literature coincides with the escalation of violence and terrorism in everyday life, and the new wave of witchcraft and black magic. The stories in this book may be read as thrilling entertainment or as symbols of a larger conflict in the soul of the individual and the organization of society. Well, all right. He went hard in that little description. Notable that these stories are popular in a world filled with violence and terrorism, and ever-rising threats of the end of civilization. Interesting. 1977. Okay, cool. So, I don't think I've ever read that entire blurb, and that's gonna break the spell. I'm gonna actually read those stories. 269 pages. Ah, yes, cold coffee. Yeah, all right, so that's that. Those are the books I'm going to read in October. I'm probably not going to get through all of those books, but I am going to do my best, and I am definitely going to read the Dracula book of Great Vampire Stories if it is the last thing I do. And hopefully it will not be the last thing I do, but hopefully I will do it. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'm excited to read these books. I'm glad I got an opportunity to share them with you. If you have any thoughts on the books that I'm reading, let me know in the comments below. Please let me know what you are reading as well. I always get really good ideas from comments, which is why some of the books are on this list, because some of you recommended them to me years ago. And again, don't forget, Water Shall Refuse Them by Lucy McKnight Hardy, The Good House by Tananarive Due, Voice Like a Hyacinth by Mallory Pearson. My witchy recommendations for you. Happy Halloween. Anyway, so that's that. That is the TBR. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. And until then, I will be here in the dark reading.